We're going to keep it nice and strong. Just a quick on the other side for all 3 blocks. If you switch feet, go. Yeah. Then instead we're going to go turn and twist. Just a review of all 3. We're going to turn our body, keep our head pretty stationary, and just block those strikes coming in, arms apart. For our knock block, we're just going to knock to that nose. We're going to block our face, bring it back to our cheeks. And then for our high 5 block, we're going to open our hands up, and we're going to block across that center line, making sure that we're closing our hands in between. All right, next technique we've got is our in-place snap front kick. Our in-place snap front kick. That's our next level test technique for you. So, if we're going left leg forward guarding stance, go! Yeah! Same thing as our normal snap front kick, so we're going to just go through those steps again. If we're looking at it from the side, we're going to take our back leg, and we're going to bring it up, knee high, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go toe point, and then flick strong out from that knee. So, then we're going to put it down behind. One more time, we're going to bring that knee out nice and high, we're going to point that toe, and then we're going to flick strong. And then we're going to set it on down behind. If we switch feet, go, yeah! And then we're looking at it from the other side, we're going to bring that back knee up, nice and high, toe point, flick strong, set it down. Bring it up again, knee high, toe point, flick strong, set it down. All right, last but not least, we've got our in-place inside crescent kick. So if we're going left leg forward from the side, go, yeah! So we've got our back leg. We're going to bring it up. It's very similar steps to the snap front kick. We're just going to do something different with our toes. So if we're coming up, actually we're going to look at it from the front. We're bringing up that back leg. We're going to put our knee high just like before, but now we're going to point it to the corner of the room, So we've got our knee high. This time for our inside crescent kick, we're going to go toes up. Pulling back to that shin as much as you can, and then flick strong across the body and bring it back. And then you set it down behind. One more time, knee high, point it to that corner, toes up, flick strong, and set it down. If I switch feet, yeah! We're going to go knee high, point it to the corner, toes up, flick strong, and come across, and set down. One more time, bring it up, knee high, toes up, flick strong, and come across. Now Mr. Phillips is going to come in and talk about our next set of techniques.
Ms. Phillips, stay put because I'm going to need your help. So why don't you hang out just for a second, and then we're coming on back because we're going into the first red belt technique. So Mr. Earl, this is coming to you. We're going into the Americana arm lock. So essentially what's happening is if I'm doing this jiu-jitsu technique and I'm on the ground, I got my knees in a mount position and I'm mounted up. I'm going to do this to air first, and then I'm going to do it with Ms. Phillips so you can see it a little bit better. You have 2 flavors of this technique. You've got a standard and you've got a neck hug. So what's happening on the standard is that if you have an arm, you never ever want your arms flailing out in jiu-jitsu. It is just all bad when you do that. So you want to keep your elbows in and compact, just like you do in your guarding stance. You want to keep them compact even when you have your back on the ground or you're on top of someone. So in this position, if I'm grounding and pounding, I'm going to practice going there. And then what happens is if I'm getting a block here on my right hand, and someone's blocking on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left and I'm going to come across and I'm going to cup at their wrist like so, and I'm going to push that hand down while getting my knees out nice and strong, dropping the elbow alongside their head, and then pushing the hand down onto the ground. So the opponent's hand would be coming down like this, and I'd be pushing down on that to pin it to the ground so they can't move it. It's not with thumb, it's thumb-less grip, so I'm coming down like so. Now, you may remember me doing this with you, Mr. Earl, on our videos, but it's been a little while, so this is why we're getting into things. So dropping in, and putting that hand down there. Then what I need to do is I need to get my head down nice and strong onto my forehead, protect my face from any fingers that might be coming from the weak side. I'm going to take this and I'm going to slide it up underneath the arm of my opponent, which is going to look like this. It's like a say hi position. So the figure 4 is very much a say hi position. So I come through, I slide underneath the arm, and I put it on that wrist of mine right here. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it here, and I've still got that person pinned. So I'm down in this position and I'm going to slide the back of their hand and paint the floor with it, just like so. So I'm going to paint it, I'm going to lift this back elbow straight up, not out to the side, straight up, pull it back and lift it up until I've taken so much stress on my opponent's shoulder socket that when it's rotating, it basically is going to tear or they have to tap. So that's what we're doing on that. So we pull and we lift and then we get the tap from there. Now the other part of it is the base. You'll always have to be aware that when you're going into this, you're committing a lot of weight up high and to one side. So when I do that, when I do it on the bottom, I'm going to show you from the back side. From here, if I was going over to this side and I came and I pinned, and I was in this position, it is front side, knee out, back side, hook in. Have to drop that hip to the floor and get that toe straight up to the ceiling. Do not grapevine. Get those toes up and provide a base for yourself so you don't get thrown off of your position. You're easily rolled when you're in this position if you don't. So if I was doing it on the other side, I would be coming in, locking down, boom, sliding, grabbing here, front side knee out, back side hook in, and getting down low, and then pulling that hand in, bringing my elbow up, and getting the tap. Now, the second part of the technique, everything stays similar except for where your arm position is. And you'll actually probably find this one more often than you will the standard. It's the neck hug variety. What's going to happen is you're going to end up in the mount and you have an arm underneath your opponent's neck. So you're able to scramble down an arm all the way onto the ground, and you're able to get it set up to push it flat like so. So I push my opponent's hand down, and then what I need to do is I need to bring it in so it'll look like it goes like this. It'll bring it into my other hand, and I grab it with a thumb full grip. I want to grab it strong. So from there, I've got it. Now what I have to do is I have to take the arm that's around the neck up and over, almost like you're pulling off a sweatshirt or a turtleneck or something like that. You're going to take it, you're going to lift it off, and then you slide through. Well, actually, you slid through, grab it here, pull it over the top, and then you slide it. You're back into the basic position, okay? So you're in this position, you've got your arm underneath. I'll do it on the other side. I got this one here, put the opponent's hand down, pull it in, grab it, then I take it and I slide up under. I get the figure 4. I take it over the head, get the elbow in, protect my face all the time, front side knee out, back side hook in, and pull on up. So if I was doing it on Miss Phillip, I'll show it to you just on one side for time. Miss Phillip, come on over here, and I want you to sit down on that red dot. Go that way. And so let's say I'm going over to my right side, and I'm throwing punches to Miss Phillip, and she's blocking. Bang, bang, bang. So I'm going to punch, and here, so I'm going to come with this hand, come across, put it all the way down, drop in, front side knee out, back side hook in. Take this hand, slide it, grab it onto that wrist, and get my head down and paint that hand. Make sure you maintain a 90-degree angle over here. Don't go out too far, don't pull it in too far, otherwise you take the pressure off the shoulder. If I was doing the neck hug variety on the other side, and I had this hand in, I was able to scramble this hand down and push it down on the ground, then I'm going to hand it off to my other hand. I'm going to come on under, get the figure 4, front side knee out, back side hook in, get this up and over, elbow into the side, down, and away we go. Okay? So that's the Americana arm lock. Thank you, Ms. Phillip. All right, so now Ms. Phillip will head off out of the camera and angle, and then what we're going to do, Jaden, is we have the ground, front, outside, and inside crescent kicks. So what we're doing there is I'm going to learn how to protect myself on the ground. In the mixed martial arts world, they're sometimes called up kicks because you can do them from the ground. They're actually legal, and I've seen guys get knocked out by them before because they weren't protecting yet, so they weren't thinking about it. So when I'm on the ground, I'm going to have myself, if I'm doing the front kick on the ground, I'm not going to be here. You don't have any power throwing a front kick here. It's pretty weak. But I'm going to be up on one hand or not any hand at all. You probably want to start one-handed up. I can punch on out with my opposite hand, my left hand, and I punch and I kick. So I'm going to do my front kick, but I'm going to bring my knee up towards my armpit, underneath the side of the elbow, try and get it in as far as I can. So I pump it out, I come back. Excuse me, and so on, back and forth. Then I would go to the other leg. I can stabilize the start if I want to. This is a great ab and lower back and hip exercise. And then I push and come back. Push and come back. Okay? So that's our front kick on the ground. Now, And you can do that kick if you needed to someone's knee, the shin, leg, whatever, to collapse that as you go. So you can do any of those. Now, we also have the ability, if we get knocked onto the ground, we don't want to stay here in baby diapering position. We want to go one side or the other. So I want to get over and I want to get into an L arm. So again, L arm is going to look like this. Put my hand flat. I'll show it to you sideways so you can see a little bit better. Hand flat, I'm on my hip on one side. So, got a nice strong base position here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go from elbow, back, elbow. I'm going to show it from the side so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to roll onto my shoulder blades on the back. I'm going to take my top leg, bring my knee towards my face, and make a big U over my head with this leg. 1, 2, and come on down. Bring the leg back behind. So I'll do it from the other side now. Coming down, flick, flick, and I'm coming on through. So let me show it to you coming at you. I'm coming on my back, rolling, flick, flick. There goes my left and then my right. And then I go the other side, flick, flick. And I come on through. So that's the outside, inside crescent kick. Really nice if you're here and someone's coming down on top of you, they think they can get to you, they're dropping their head, and you can whip, whip through there and get them to that head position. Okay? So those are the techniques that you need to take care of, Mr. Earl, for your blue stripe. Now, next up is our red with black stripes. Correct, Ms. Phillip? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, first up for you all is your circle form section 3. So, what we're looking for in circle form section 3 is fun section, but a challenging one. There's a lot of detail here, and there's balance that's involved. It's a dragon sweep section. So this sweep is a very effective type of technique because it can be used if someone's coming at you from the side, and I've seen people actually use it to take legs out and people go flying and dropping on the ground. So it's a lot of fun that way. So you'd start going over towards, for you, we'd be going towards your right side, and if 12 o'clock is directly towards you, 9 o'clock is going to be over here. This is what you'd be doing, at least mirroring towards me. All right? So I'm going to be here. I've done my section 2 ends with that punch and hit. I'm in my good take a knee position. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fake towards the 12 o'clock view right here. I'm going to drop this knee. One of the keys to this section is dropping this knee as close as you can to this one so you create a stable base to be able to spin. You're going to come through, drop that knee, come up. See, I'm transitioning up. I'm using my shoulders and my upper body to drive here. Come through, flick. I'm going to keep this foot coming, and this foot comes through, and then I'm blocking down here with my right hand. So what this is doing, this right hand is blocking feet flying up to my face. So I'm blocking down with that hand. Then the other hand, the block hand comes up, the other hand goes out with the punch towards 12. Left hand comes through, I kick, toe pointed. Elbow is coming back. You'll hook the foot, elbow comes towards the belly. You're then going to pull the feet of the person up and out, elbow comes back, and again, you're in kind of that fake towards 12 o'clock position. So you yank the feet out from somebody. Now, let's say they're off balance and they get their foot back down. Well, you take this leg, and you're going to drop it, knee to knee, boom. Again, power coming from the upper body. Turn, 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 turn. Keep it coming, turn, 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 turn. Flick through, lead, help that leg come through as well. You block down with this hand, again, to protect the groin and face from feet flying up. Now, this is the part that gets a little bit interesting for most students. What you're doing here is, this person, you swept and they didn't get swept out. So what you're looking to do is you're looking to take this hand and you're going to trap a leg. This hand comes up alongside your face when you do that. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to take your leg here and seal the foot in while this hand collapses down and closes down on it. So you've sealed in that leg. What's going to happen next is you're going to push off from this foot. Notice my foot position. Points out at a 45, not straight ahead. You want to have this so you have better push and stability when you come up. You're going to push up from that leg, come up and do a knee elbow. That looks familiar. Star form 1, star form 2, etc. Boom, coming on in. You're going to set down towards 12 o'clock, and I'm going to back up a little bit so I stay in frame. Coming through, jab, punch, and then you're going to be doing a jump inside crescent kick with the front leg right down here. Knee comes up, bring that knee up, elbow and hand come back on the same side, jab, flick through, and inner knife hand block. or it could be just kind of a palm block as you come through. So that's what section 3 looks like. A little bit faster, coming through. I'm here, turning, twisting, dropping, flicking through, bang, punch, boom. This section is done much more difficultly, it's much more difficult to do, at slow speed, much easier to get flow and going. Turn, rip, drop, but I want you to see all the details. Boom, reach, pull in, seal, up, knee and elbow, jab, punch, up, jab, and inner block. Notice where my hips go, going off to 2 o'clock. Don't stay at 12, all right? Next up, for you all, red with black stripes, are your knife angles of attack. So get your goggles on, get your knife. I'm going to use my metal knife just because you'll be able to see it better in the video. So left leg forward, guarding stance. Good! Now, what we're looking for is slashing, 5 angles of slashing. So again, 1 and 2 are 45-degree angles coming to the neck. 1, 2. This hand is going to be up in front of the throat, protecting slashes to the carotid arteries. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 is on slashing, coming up underneath, through the groin, up the center line. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right? Note that my palm comes up on that number 5. I'm not going to show you both hands because of the time considerations and constraints, but make sure you practice with both hands and get good at both hands. So we're doing saber grip slashing. Now it's reverse grip slashing. 1, notice I'm turning the hand over, palm up. 2, 45-degree angle with my knife blade. 3, 4, right across that midline of the belly. And 5, when you're coming up on the slashing, you're coming straight up that center line, right up underneath the chin and throat. Okay? Then from here we go back to our saber grip, and we're going into the butt. So we're going 5 angles of butt. 1, 2, 3, into the floating ribs. 4, 5 is a modified uppercut. It's not here, it's with the butt of the knife right underneath the chin or into the nose. Okay? Then we could do reverse grip butt. Comes on in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is a thrust with the butt of the knife where the knife tip is off to the side of the body, not in front. Hit and come back. So that's number 5. All right? So then coming back to saber grip, we're doing thrusting. We're taking that knife. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a straight stab right into the solar plexus. Last 2 that you'd be going into, you got hacking and hooking. Hacking and hooking. So hacking is like you're coming in and you're going to use a little bit of a C motion with your hand to basically cut and take a piece of flesh out of someone. Hopefully get blood flying out by doing that so that you reduce the ability of the fighter to defend themselves. So pop, 2, backhand, 3, 4, and then 5 is either I'm coming up and doing it lethal, or 5 could be coming up underneath with the flat of the blade where there is no edge and do a non-lethal strike. That's hacking. Now hooking, I'm taking it, and if I come through, I'm going back behind the head, hooking and pulling in. Palm up, pull in. Number 3, 4, 5, come through. Okay? So that's your knife angles of attack. All right? So Ms. Phillips is now going to take over, and we're going to get into our black belt prep students.
All right, black belt prep for you, Mr. Ian, is going to start with your Star Form 2 stand shifts, or Star Form 2 stand shifts. So if we're starting out in our good Star Form 2 modified running stance, we're going to go left leg forward, guarding stance, go, get! And we're going to be looking at it from the side, because that's how it would be done in the form. So what you should do at home is you should find a way to get some tracks or some space for yourself, just like we've done on the mat previously with sticks, so that you can know exactly where your feet need to be and where your marker should be for when you step. So we're going to have our feet a little bit outside our shoulder width, knees nice and bent low. We're going to have our hands up by our face. For the stance shift, what we're going to do is we're going to take our whatever foot is on the back on the stance, we're going to bring it straight across to that same line we're on the other side, turn the foot, and bring the other one through. As you can see, my feet are on the same lines now as they were before when I was in my previous stance. That's what you want to do at home, which is why you should set up markers for yourself. Once again, so you can see it, bring that back foot across, turn, bring that front foot forward, and sit down into those stances. Get those knees nice and bent. One more time, bring the back foot across, turn, and set down. Get nice and low, keep those hands up by the face. That's your star form 2 stand shift. So, next up, for the gunfighter walk, you're going to be practicing how to move with your horse stances. I'm going to start further back so that you can see. But if we're starting out and we're going forward and back, we're going to sit down in our nice horse stance. We're going to get our knees low, toes pointed straight ahead, hands on our hips. Now, if we're going to start walking with that gunfighter walk, we're going to move our back foot and we're going to swing it forward while turning our front foot. So, we're going to turn and swing through and set back into our horse stance. Once again, we take our back leg, pick it up, turn through on the front foot. Ready? Turn and step and set into our horse stance. Whenever we set down in our gunfighter walk, we're going to have our toes straight across from each other in a nice straight line so that we're all set to go in our horse stance. I'll show you from the front as well so that you can see what it looks like. We're going to get nice and low in our horse stance, sit down, hands on the hips, take that front foot, turn it, back foot swing through. Ready, turn, and set. This one's going to stay in place, this one's going to come through, and turn. That's our gunfighter walk for you, Mr. Ian. All right, next up, we've got our uppercuts. There are 2 kinds of uppercut. So we're going to start with our head uppercut, So if we go left leg forward, guarding stance, go, yeah! We're going to start with our head uppercut. So we're going to start with our front hand, and then we're going to go on our back hand. You don't have to switch feet if you're going on both hands, but I encourage you to try it just so you can get comfortable with both legs. So, if we're starting out on our front hand, we're going to take our fist, we're going to turn it palm towards us, knuckles out, and we're going to pop up into the head. We're going to use our legs as well to power us so that we don't have to just use our arm. We can get more power on our strike. So, turn the palm over, pop up. If we're seeing it on the back hand, turn this palm over, pop up, and bring it back. Make sure you bring it back to those cheeks. Nice, good 11 arm position with those head uppercuts. One more time. Bring it through, pop it up. Bring it through, pop it up. Use those legs to power you. Okay, next flavor of uppercuts is going to be our shovel uppercuts. So for these, instead of coming up to the head or up underneath the chin, you're going to be focusing on the stomach and the body. So if we're taking our front hand, we're going to bring it and we're going to put it in that same position that we had with the head uppercut, with the knuckles out and the palm facing us. We're going to bring it up under and we're going to come in and pop instead. We're going to have a nice U motion, so from the side, it looks like popping up and in. We're going to come right into the center of that stomach, and we're going to make sure that we're hitting nice and strong and coming back. Make sure you're not doing a scooping motion and bringing back to yourself, but instead coming in and then popping back out. If we're looking at it from the front, we see the other side on the back hand. We can come in and come out. Pop it in and come back. So that's our shovel uppercut. Next thing we've got for you is the tie leg block. So if we're looking at it left leg forward guarding stance, go, yeah! We've got our front leg, and what we're using this tie leg block for is to block a kick coming in at us. We need to get our leg up. If we can't use our hands or our arm, and it's too low for us to use that and block it to our midsection. So we're going to bring our front leg up. We're going to sit back on our back leg. We're going to bring our knee high, and we're going to toe point. Now, it's a lot like your snap front kick chair drill. So this is our snap front kick chair drill, but for our tie leg block, we're just going to take this foot and bring it across so that it's right in front of our opposite knee, so that it's nice and strong there. And then we're going to set it down. This is one of the techniques that you should use probably with your siblings, your parents, your family, anybody in your house, so that they can practice it with you and you can get used to withstanding pressure from something coming in at this block. So when you come up, you do that tie leg block, have somebody come in and push on that block, make sure that you can withstand it and you can still stay strong in your stance. You're going to set it down. With the back leg, you're going to bring it up, same thing, you're just going to move that foot in front of this knee instead. So you're going to bring that knee up, toe point, and sit down. Make sure you're nice and strong. And then bring it back. Okay, that is our tie leg block. Now, our next thing for you is our front leg sweep, So this one's going to be a little bit similar to the tie leg block in terms of bringing your knee up, but instead of blocking a kick coming in at you so that you're withstanding it, you're blocking a kick that's coming down underneath and that's trying to sweep out your leg. You're going to be picking up your foot to avoid somebody doing a front leg sweep on you. So if we're left leg forward, just like before, we're going to take our front leg and we're just going to pick it up and set it down. Now, although this is a quick block and you're going to be only holding your leg in the air for a short time, you want to make sure that you can still balance on that back leg, even if you're not going to be holding it for very long. So I encourage you to bring it up, sit, and see how long you can hold it. This is a lot like our bring it up before we shoot down position in our bow-in. You're just keeping those hands up by the face and bending that back leg and setting it down. If I switch feet, yeah! Now, we're going to be doing this on the front leg on our right side. Remember, since this is a front leg sweep block, we're only going to do it on the front leg, not on the back leg. So only focus on this front and switch back and forth. Same thing here. We're going to pick up this leg, bring that knee up, toes pulled back as well, and sit down nice and strong, and then set it on back down. All right, very last technique that you have is your bob and weave, your bob and weave. So we did the bob a few weeks ago, so you should remember that head motion with the U, but now we're going to add the feet into it. So if I go left leg forward guarding stance, yeah, here's what we're going to do. We're going to just review our simple bob motion. We're going to use that U motion with our head, where we bend our knees, we bring our head over the back foot and our weight, and then over the front foot. So now we're going to use our feet with it. So if I'm bringing my head forward in a U, and we're using this front foot, I'm going to step out to an angle with that front so that I move the weight over my front foot. So I'm going to take this front foot, step, bend the knees, bring the head forward. For the back side, if I'm coming to the back leg, I'm going to go on the other side of that U. I'm going to bend my knees, bring my head back, and scoot back. And we're going to bring that front foot in a little bit, get back into that guarding stance. Once again, U, sit down, bring the back foot in, sit down, bring the front foot back. We're always going to end up in guarding stance at the end of this technique. Just make sure you get that nice U motion with your head and that your hands stay up at that face. Those are the black belt craft techniques for Mr. Ian. Now we're going to go on to Mr. Jeff's techniques.
All right, Mr. Gordon, so one thing I'd recommend is that the two first ones that you're going to be working on this week are ones that the purple belts are doing. So the hammer fist, if I was, again, right leg forward, get! And I'm doing my hammer fist from 10 and 2, 3 and 9, 6s. Definitely go back to the purple belt section, which is earlier in the video, and look at those, as well as the rising knee, Jeff, coming up, toe pointed down, almost like we have the snap front kick position, but the toe is pulled back, so that you have an ability to go through that in a little bit more detail. Just because of the number of techniques and the time on this video, we're just going to have you refer back to that. So, thrusting knee is another one of your requirements, Jeff, is another one of your requirements. So the thrusting knee, again, is we want to bring the knee up and make sure that it's parallel or even to the ground. As we're coming up, we're going to get it and we're going to thrust with the hips, pushing forward and coming backwards. Now, we want to have the toes up on the bottom foot, everything square on the different knees, and be able to pump. So I could pull someone into it and push and pull. I could have just the knee come up and go into lower abdomen, groin, stomach, thigh, whatever I need to do. So if I switch feet to the left leg forward, and this knee's coming up, and I'm pushing, and I'm coming back, and I'm pushing, and I'm coming back. We're looking to have those hips get used to doing that good thrust. That's exactly the same type of motion for our thrust front kick. All right, so that's the thrusting knee. Now, let's see, I think we have in-place outside crescent kick coming up next. So again, you can use the hands, you don't have to, but the pieces and the details are exactly the same. So what we'd be doing, Jeff, is we'd be taking that knee and would be coming up and pushing across to, if I had my right leg forward, I'm going to take that knee and I'm going over towards 10 o'clock, toes up, and I flick through. I want to have my shoulders, my midsection working, bring that knee up and rip through. So from there, we could do a couple repetitions. We'll make that good rainbow, push with the knee, not the foot. The knee drives the kick. Gotta have that knee going through on the good rainbow, flick it out, pull it in, put it back down. Switching feet, going to the other side, knee up, flicking through, coming on back. Knee up, rip through, foot out front by the knee. Don't tuck, be out front. Rip and come on through. Okay? So, in place, outside crescent kick. So, slide up, step out. Okay? I'm going to do this towards you and then side to side. So if I'm left leg forward guarding stance, so I'm going to slide up. I don't have to after I got it down. At your level, you shouldn't have feet together. We're going to have feet probably underneath the hips. Step out. A 1-2 pattern. So the feet both come flat, then I step out, and the heel comes up and back. 1-2. So if I switch feet, and I was going backwards. Feet together, step back. I'm going to drive the ball of the foot into the floor on the backside. Feet flat, step. Feet flat, drive the ball. Okay, going sideways. If I'm left leg forward, feet flat, push off, drive, get that heel up and back. Step and go. 1-2, a little bit faster. 1-2. Okay, so slide up, step out. That leads into your slide up, jab, step out, punch. So again, we want to have that timing where I'm going to come across no man's land or no person's land, coming on in, bang, snap. 1, 2. Notice I'm trying to have my hand snap over at the last second. That's one of the things we're looking for in this technique, that you're sharp on that. So from here, we're going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Going backwards, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Notice my hands are coming back to my face every time. Thumbs touching my cheeks. Coming forward, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And backwards, pop, 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 pop,